We are live. Yes, back-to-back weekends. Oh my God. What is this? Is this old SeeJeanty? Is this old Haiti Biz news? We used to do it every week. No. Last week was the special episode, of course, not special in a good way, where we focused on the incredible events that transpired that put Haiti in the headlines once again for the worst reasons. But we have to get back to the business of moving Haiti in the right direction, the conversations of Haiti in the right direction. And this week, that's why we're back on. That's why we're here. We're here to talk about what this show is about. The show is about Haiti business, right? Economic opportunity. I mean, the only thing that's ever going to stop this cycle of political instability is when we stop referring to Haiti as whatever we continue to refer to and start to focus on the opportunity that exists. And the conversational space we have here is just for that, right? It's just for this idea to express itself. And so we're back at it. We're back to work. We're back working. And I want to thank everyone who's coming in. Probably won't get these same massive numbers as we did last week. It is what it is. That's just how we work as human beings. We like the negative. We like the salacious. We like the drama, right? Not realizing it's that very same thing that causes the drama and salaciousness in the beginning. Because if we were focused on what we need to be focused on, right, i.e. creating economic opportunity for our people, 364 days of the year, right? We wouldn't be in the sort of situations that have us in the situations that we are in. But in any case, I haven't even officially started the show yet. But nonetheless, just want to let you guys who are coming in, or who at least catch this show on the usual repeat, get a sense right away what we're trying to do here. So we're gonna go on a quick pause. You know what it is. It's a one-man show here on Sunday, so gotta get some things done in the background. We're gonna be back in about 3-4 minutes. Use this opportunity to invite a few folks, get a few folks in here. We have a lot of news, economic business news. We're gonna talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about last week. In addition, though, we are going to start the show. With giving you updates in terms of what's happening. Can't ignore that. We're going to give you an update on where the investigation is thus far. Okay. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Boom, and we are live on all mediums. Only TikTok. In fact, I had intentions to do TikTok, actually. I had my other phone here, but I thought about it, and some news I'm about to share actually is like, But we're on everything else, though. We're on IG, we're on Facebook, we're on even Periscope and Twitter. I want to say hello to folks who are coming in IG land. What's up? Much power to everyone here this Sunday. As I alluded to in the top of the hour, this episode, we're back to business. We're back to business. I know had quite a few new followers, particularly on IG, who may think this is what we do. We don't do salacious. We don't do politics. We're focused on the opportunities that exist in the country. And the point of Haiti Biz News Show is to talk about what's happening outside of the headlines, outside of what gets us on CNN and what gets us on Fox and what gets us in the world news, which is usually something very troubling, something particularly traumatic for our people. But that's 300. That's one day. 364 days. We have things happening. We have activity happening. We have folks fighting actually for the better Haiti. That one day it's going to shock us to actually see that we do have that better Haiti there. And so this show is to talk about those things, but we're not hiding anything too. Of course, when we talk about what's happening from economic statistics, it's hard to, the stats generally aren't favorable for Haiti, but we're here to talk about it, here to focus. We're to focus on that, right? And because that's the only thing that's going to move the goalposts forward, right? So again, folks are looking for the salacious, the zen, somebody who's, I think that's the only thing that only goes viral for Haiti. It's those who are either sharing some crazy half-ass lazy conspiracy theory, or someone who is speaking Creole and saying every bêtise known to man. That's the only thing we Haitian people like to share and like to go viral. If you're here for that, goodbye. Unfortunately, we're adults here and we're having a serious conversation on what we need to do and how we need to move forward. So it was nice knowing you if you're here for that. But everyone else, I do want to welcome those who know what this is. The veterans, I'm already seeing a couple veterans already in here. I'm seeing Cleef Guerra in the house. What's up? I'm seeing James Lubin in the house. I'm seeing Mari Lambert in the house. I'm seeing Arlene Wade in the house. Let me say what's up to a few folks in IG who are waving. We got EAA4. We got Vegan Kings in the house. What's up? Seeing a couple other veterans in here. If I miss you, just know I know you're here. I know you're here. I just didn't get a chance to see it while I was looking for your name. So, but hello. And of course, do see some new folks in here. We see a Patrick Pierre in here. Hello. We see a Haitian King in here. Hello. We see a Bill Odson Caster in here as well. So hello to some of the new folks as well who are here. So what's up? Hello. We have a lot to talk about because we didn't talk about what we usually talk about last week. But of course, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. We are going to talk about the investigation as relates to the assassination of President Moise. We are going to talk about that at the top of the hour, and then we are going to move forward to other news stories that have been happening meanwhile, right? So, of course, today is the 18th of July. Per usual, let me switch the language up real quick. Parce que c'est très important pour moun yo connaît. D'ailleurs, c'est un bon haïtien, c'est pas un blanc qui est décidé pour quitter venir ici et faire mission en anglais. C'est un bon haïtien, effectivement natif, natal. Parce que bon, sous fait dans le pays, si Baptiste dit c'est Haïti ou fait bon, natal, même les organisations de l'autre bord. OK? Mais comment on qui organise l'autre bord qui pas rien sous pays et pas rien qui bail des informations des nouvelles j'aime de qu'on prendre l'autre bord et il y a un monde qui a fait j'aime dire là tout le monde Si on parle sur Haïti, c'est bêtises yo a blagué, c'est la dot yo a voyé, c'est politique yo basé ba yo. Et bon, m'bat rien qui vraiment qui est intéressé. So, comme m'ba me plaigner, m'ba un monde qui écrit c'est blanc qui a Québec simplement comment haïtien me fait qui ça? Me fait une mission et qui dans un langage international parce qu'il faut comprendre bail ko blanc yo l'autre bois a pas prendre sur Haïti. Ça va pas prendre. Non, qui langue va pas prendre? C'est pas créole non, il va prendre créole. Ko CNN comment mais erreur avec Tintin yo. Sous pays, ok? Et qu'on Fox, qu'on Vice dans le pays avec Boy BBQ, tout le monde qui a fait bel travail dans le pays, il dit c'est pour entrer et pour interviewer BBQ. Dans quelle langue vous fait? Bah ouais nous-mêmes en bas et Vice nous a demandé pour ça va faire dans le créole. Mais nous-mêmes, mais moi-même qui a partagé une nouvelle qui est intéressante, nous nécessitons qui me fait dans le créole pour limiter message là, qui ça fait, mais oh, on pense, oui. On l'a côté qui dans qui langue pays ça. Non, frère, pour moi, qui rationalité, il gagne. Et tout, m'absou. Si vous voulez prendre, vous prenez, si vous parlez prendre. Faites cadeau. Ok? Oui, so c'est ça, et nous faisons dans le créole pour la raison ça. Et toujours important pour dire ça. J'aime dire, c'est pas côté, c'est vrai que nous baguer côté encore pour jeune information. Puis le monde qui a fait, m'a besoin répéter non nous connaissons. Et toujours dis comme ou ka partager un monde qui a fait bail ça, a fait là. Anglais, bien content pour me changer, faire émission totalement en créole. Oh, pour des ans, m'a gaspillé si anglais. Oh, bien content. So, c'est là nous et moi merci nous et pour compréhension nous et que nous là pour une plus bonne mission pour monde du monde comprendre nous-mêmes dans le sens qui est plus compliqué. OK. Merci beaucoup pour ça. So that's just the usual few minutes I spend to kind of break down why we're doing it in English. We don't. There is no space where this exists. There are a few folks who do this very similarly in Creole, but there is none in English. And I always say the day you guys can send me someone who's doing this in English, I will gladly give them the mantle, gladly promote them, and allow me to do it in English. Right. And by the way, again, as someone who is Haitian, who has tremendous respect for the Creole language, tremendous respect, which is why I don't really mind spending a few minutes speaking our language. I do want to remind folks we do have a SeeJeanty on Creole YouTube channel, right? Everything we do, except last episode because Tyreek didn't speak a word Creole, so we couldn't appropriately, reshoot. But we reshoot everything in Creole over there, and we drop it, right? So for those who are generally looking for their Creole, right? I see you, I hear you, you have it. Just literally type in SeeJeanty, EN space Creole, CREOLE, and you'll find it. Or if you're right now watching this live stream, you can go ahead and click the link, and then you can subscribe, right? And that brings me to an important change, an important update that I want to provide, which is how we do things here is changing. How we're going to be doing things going forward is going to be changing, right? I think I mentioned this. Folks who've been following long enough, they know that I have a much larger vision of what Haiti Biz News could be, right? It's never supposed to be just one guy talking and reporting, right? I express where I want Haiti Biz News to be. I want Haiti Biz News to be the Bloomberg, the CNBC of Haiti, right? Call it a crazy vision if you want to, but that's what keeps me going, keeps me pushing, keeps me investing in what we're doing here. And in that regard, in fact, we're moving forward with it. In fact, we're in the process of hiring a broadcast journalist who's going to help with gathering stories, putting stories together, and is also going to be giving you that news. And we're going to start doing it daily, Monday through Thursday. Okay, Monday through Thursday. We're going to start doing it. And I think folks who've really been following me, I'm talking about the real OGs of Haiti Biz News and SeeJeanty. Y'all know that I've been, there was a period where, we did this daily show. We did a daily show, and furthermore, it wasn't live, except for issues related to my team that we couldn't, for whatever reason, put together a show. But we actually pre-recorded, and we had graphics on the side, and we had the real thing, right? We had we had an actual daily show, right? And so because of reasons related to the fact that, as I always express, I am not a media personality. I'm an entrepreneur who also does media as a responsibility as a Haitian, right? Someone who, while I'm doing what I'm doing here in Haiti, also I know have a response, as I wish a lot of us felt we did, to show that other side of the country, of who we are. And so those other things came first before the daily show. And so that we moved away to a weekly, and then we moved to a monthly. And I'll be honest, even the monthly is getting harder and harder to do. But again, we have a bigger mission here, bigger desire to do greater things for us. And so we're gonna actually dial up. We're gonna bring on an actual journalist, an actual broadcaster, and they're gonna be doing a daily show. And that's going to happen probably somewhere to mid-August. Just look out for that, mid-August. I'm in the hiring process right now to get that person in here, and then very quickly we're going to start recording. We're going to start dropping daily Haiti Biz News episodes, and that's just the start. We hope that this blossoms into truly what we hope it's going to blossom to, which is again the Bloomberg of Haiti. Right, genuinely speaking. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited of where we're going. We need a space. We need it. It doesn't exist. We need it, and so we're gonna get it. And I've always been the one. I don't wait. I don't complain. I don't write up articles that says it's the mulatto's fault. Right? I see opportunity, and I create those opportunities in advance. And I'm fortunate that I find folks. Because if you're watching this, I found you to move forward together with, right? So that's the game plan for advancement. That's the game plan for how Haiti gets out of where it's at. That's the game plan of, how to be successful. Follow that game plan, and we're going to get there. So again, excited about that, and just very, very happy to share. Per usual, we, do want to mention, of course, we do have the book. The book is out, 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti. Check this out. It's right here, right? It's a thick read, 101 ideas, as you can imagine. It's a thick read, right? Lucrative business ideas, insightful success stories, and interesting business opportunities for visionary entrepreneurs. Say that 10 times fast. I dare you. If you've already picked up your copy, fantastic. Congratulations to you. You're moving one step closer, or you're helping the country move one step closer. If not, go get your copy. So far, it's been well received. Folks are appreciating what's in this text. And again, what's so important is not just ideas. Anybody can just write ideas, but it's literally me finding actual entrepreneurs in Haiti today who are executing different variations of those ideas, right? And talking about their story, talking about giving their actual case study examples. Because Harvard actually does real case study reviews when they're teaching folks business. And I'm like, what? We're not just going to give ideas. We're going to actually give you the case studies, so you guys know, how to do it too. Because again, it's not about my success. It's not about coming out here every day and telling you, oh, there's possibilities for Haiti. No, I actually want you to execute and be successful. And the book is just one more avenue in addition to the media that I produce to help you with that. So again, go check out that book if you haven't already. I sent the link. It's for those who are on IG. It's SeeJeanty.com/shop, SHOP, and it will take you to Amazon, where you can buy the e-copy and or the hard paperback for yourself. And of course, the Creole version is translated. I just need an editor. Stop being lazy and get a lay editor to actually polish it up, and the Creole version will be out as well. Right? Don't forget, we do have the Action Group. The Action Group is a Facebook group that we are. We got some spammers in here. Let's go get this spammer out of there. Bam. Where was I? Oh yeah, the SeeJeanty Action Group. Do keep in mind we do have that space for folks to share stories and share what they're doing in that space. So do go ahead and join that group. It's on Facebook. Also, one thing that has allowed us to do what we're doing right now, one thing that's allowed us to, for example, we're talking about starting the Haiti Biz News. When the country is a little more quiet, we're in the provinces, and we're in the provinces and we're showing different things. One thing that's allowed us to do that has been our private WhatsApp group, where so effectively think of it as a Patreon, where you become a member of the SeeJeanty community, and you get access to have at least somewhere around almost 40 people in there right now who are all attacking the problem of Haiti in their own ways, and it's a space for folks to communicate, to work together. It's an instant plug-in network, right? I always say if you're coming to Haiti, one of the first things you have to do is get your network, and this is just that. It's that network. In addition, I'm in there. I participate. Sometimes I dare say I over-participate, right? So folks will know, those who are in the group know what I'm talking about, right? In addition, we have an attorney in their 25 plus years who's there to kind of give us that fence, because sometimes we, to ensure that the conversation, the advice that we're giving, it's legally appropriate. We have an attorney in there where you can ask your questions legally. And so I do encourage you, if you're interested in participating and supporting SeeJeanty. A lot of folks are always, they like what we got going on here. They want to support. I do encourage you to check it out. I do encourage you to be a member. I dropped the link in the channel. Again, for you guys watching on IG, if you go to SeeJeanty.com, you'll see contact up there, and you'll see the private WhatsApp group option, right? And so I do hope to see a new face in there at the end of this show, right? Okay, and so that's really the big comments, of course, at the top that I always got to talk about. Remember, you're a co-host here. Do drop a comment. Try to look over and read comments from time to time. We're not going to do what we did last time. Where we brought folks on stage. But I'm telling you, that's actually one thing I'm looking forward to when we have the Haiti Biz News daily again, right? Is that actually when I come back on to do a live show, the live show, honestly, I look forward to that transition, because what I'm thinking of doing going forward is when I'm on, I'm actually not necessarily giving the news anymore, but I'm actually having opportunities to speak with you about what you want to do in Haiti, right? Maybe restrict it to 10 people, bring them on stage. They can talk about their perspectives, their ideas, what they're trying to do, and you guys can overhear the conversation, right? Basically what I do in the private WhatsApp group, but just bring it on to a more public space. And I think that's probably what I'm going to do going forward, because that doesn't take time. Preparing this show is a tremendous amount of time on my part, even though I do have help putting notes together. But nonetheless, having to review it, have to make sure I understand what's going on. It's a tremendous amount of time. Now, instead, if it's just, doing a live show where I'm having conversations and I'm correlating, the experiences that I've written about in addition to live day to day, that's something I can do very easily consistently as well, right? And so I think I'm looking forward to that, and I think maybe you guys might be looking forward to that too, because I think last week when we did do bringing folks on stage, the feedback was tremendous, well appreciated, and so I think that's something to look forward to. We'll call it the Unparlé Live with SeeJeanty and friends show. It's probably what's coming, but it will. For the first things first, we're looking to stabilize and really make sure Haiti Biz News daily show is of quality. Okay. So just remember, share the stream. If you're watching this right now, please hit that share button, share it on your WhatsApp, share it, as SMS, share it in your Apple messages, share it on your Facebook, right? Share this stream. Let's get a few more folks in here, right? And again, the numbers are, not the massive numbers per last week, but that's fine. That's fine. Listen, I always say, when folks say, Christopher, what you're doing? Man, you should be a lot larger. No, I don't want to be larger. I've seen the comments of the big boys, right? And I don't want to call any names. I don't want to cause any drama, but you know what I'm talking about. The big social media places where Haitians congregate, right? I've seen the comments. I'm okay. I rather speak to the audience who gets it rather than the audience that doesn't. And if you guys are watching right now, you're the audience that gets it. That's who I'd rather be spending my precious Sundays with, those who get it, right? So it's all good. I'm very happy to have the folks who are watching right now, right? So let's talk about the headlines. Let's go through them really quick. Headlines, what we're going to be talking about today, right? Of course, we're going to give you updates on the presidential assassination. There's been some developments. In fact, there was a development I was just reading just as I was getting on that was very, well, I guess we'll talk about that in a bit. Furthermore, we'll certainly talk about COVID, right? We'll certainly be talking about COVID, right? Lots of information there. A lot of things are happening in the country. Referendum. We're going to be giving you a few updates from that perspective. Matissa, there's been tremendous things happening from that perspective, and we're going to certainly update you there. At Dominican Republic, there's been some things that they're doing that are affecting our economy and what's going on here. So we're certainly going to talk about that. Economic indicators, right? There's some stats that's just came out. Inflation, right? In particular, we're going to be talking about agriculture. There's some things happening in the agricultural space. We're going to be talking about that today. Electricity, certainly a big push of President Moise. That a lot of folks are saying that unfortunately got him killed. We're going to talk about that. The Haiti International, there's some things happening internationally through some Haiti organizations that we're going to talk about today. Really interesting stuff. Some real money-making opportunities for the right entrepreneur or right organization. International aid, there's some things happening from a foreign aid perspective that certainly we want to talk about. Because any good that's being done, we certainly want to highlight. Right? There's local aid and business development, certain things that are happening from a development perspective here in the country that we're going to talk about from more local actors. And then public works, there's some major public works that are half completed. We're going to talk about that. And then of course, sports, we're not necessarily a sports show, but sports can have real economic impact for countries, for economies. We're going to be talking about some of the things that have happened sports-wise that is going to be of interest to you. So those are the headlines. If you think there's any bit of news there that people that may find interesting, may like, again, share it. If you're on IG, share it as a story. Share it to someone, one or two people who you feel might actually appreciate being informed on these topics. All right, and let's jump into it. Let's get into it. All right. So first and foremost, the presidential assassination. So let me do this. I wanna give a big shout out to one individual who's been doing fantastic. Alexandra, the Haitian. I just dropped his Instagram. If you're not following Alexandra, the Haitian, I need you to go ahead and follow him. He's been doing a fantastic job in providing daily updates in terms of what's been happening related to this story, right? And that's actually where I'm going right now to actually get some of the bigger pieces in terms of what has happened, what is happening in the country. Again, if you're watching IG, Alexandre, that's a DRE, right? Alexandre, the Haitian, one word, right? So do go check him out. I'm always one who's supporting folks who are doing great work. Alexander Haitian is doing great work, and so let's support him. Go give him a follow. And so let's go through it. What do we know so far? Where are we? Right. So first and foremost, the President Jovenel Moise's funeral will be held on July 23. Right, on July 23rd. The Prime Minister denies a salacious bit of news that was reported on Caracol News. This is a news media company out in Colombia that basically implicated the assassination of President Moise on the current interim Prime Minister, Claude Joseph. Right, the Haitian National Police, PNH, of course, by the way, they've denied. Claude Joseph has denied it. The police, the DCPG, the police investigating this have came out and also effectively denied it, and also said, please allow the investigation to complete without, sources that could potentially derail the investigation, right? And so for right now, it's been universally understood as fake news, right? So, but again, a lot of moving parts. I can tell you, I've read it. There were a lot of sometimes you can read fake news and you can figure out that really quick. Oh yeah, this is certainly fake, right? But one thing that was interesting about that news story is that they passed a lot of fact checkpoints, meaning they were right enough to make you believe that this could be true news, but of course the conclusion just was a big question mark, right? So again, I'm not. So right now, just reporting facts as we know the facts. It is fake news. Time will tell if there's more information that can solidify that story. So the Haitian National Police, let's see, the FBI, CIA have been in the country, right? In fact, I want to change tabs real quick and say, so who did they send? FBI sent a few different folks, really senior level folks initially to help understand the situation on the ground. They sent senior directors of National Security Council. They sent a Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Department of State. They sent the Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the Department of Justice. They sent the Unit Chief for International Operations of the FBI. I mean, so again, I was a little concerned that they were going to send their, worse agents, but they've actually put some senior folks, relatively senior folks, on this to ensure that the most appropriate resources are handled and ensure that President Biden is informed of how things are going, and if necessary, put additional resources in the hands of the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security to push this investigation along, right? Which is great and very important news, right? The CCTV footage of President Moise's assassination has been found, right? And however, it's not going to be released to the public at this time. But I doubt, if you guys know anything about how WhatsApp works, at some point very soon, we all will have a grainy cell phone captured version of that CCTV in our hands very quickly, right? So I would expect within a week or two, the population as a whole will have copies, right? Mark my words, just how things work through WhatsApp, right? What else? Of course, I did mention the president will be buried specifically in Cap Haitien. That was per his wishes. He wanted to be buried there, right? Additionally, the funeral has earmarked $4 million, right, for the ceremony. That ceremony is happening July 23rd. That ceremony is happening July 23rd, so look out for that. Certainly, I think a lot of us will certainly make time to ensure to watch that ceremony in its full, right? And of course, a big story, of course, has to do with the United States Embassy announcing that visas, they will not be issuing visas. A big thing that we saw a few days right after this was a mass of Haitians at the U.S. Embassy trying to apply for asylum, right? I guess word got out that this could be a reason why someone could apply for asylum, and Haitians showed up in mass. So the embassy quickly had to come out with a statement and say, no, we're not doing that. We're completely shutting down the investigation, right? New suspects, of course, have been called to the Haitian National Police to answer questions, and they're suspects. Just questions are being answered. Once things get a little more solid, we certainly will talk about that. Certainly, I don't want to necessarily get names out and get folks to think they're guilty just by being called to ask questions. So we'll hold off on sharing names for that reason, right? It very interestingly was that many of the mercenaries that were, and many of the mercenaries were either informants for the FBI, law enforcement, and DEA, right? And so, and additionally, there were a few that were trained by the actual U.S. Army back in Colombia to fight, of course, the Colombian conflict. So there is a direct line to the United States to these individuals. However, of course, we're not implying that the United States has something to do with it. Simply that the United States certainly did have a relationship past, or currently with those individuals up until that point where they passed. They did this and killed the president, right? Of course, the presidential guard chief, Dimitri Harold, who, of course, has been getting a lot of ire from everyone involved, really. How could the head of the presidential guard, at the end of the day, something happened to him, to the president. So where was he? And I think, to be quite frank, any functioning country, this guy would be in jail right now. Or, because honestly, if you allow this to happen, where none of your guys put up a fight, right? None of you guys put up a fight, right? There's something wrong, right? And the way responsibility works, because you are in a responsible, you say on responsable, right? Then this person would currently be facing some of the worst consequences in any country where laws are a thing, right? And so Dimitri Harold, nonetheless, has been asked to go for questioning. He's outright refused. In addition, he must check in twice a week with the Haitian National Police, surrender his weapons. But nonetheless, no official formal charges have been filed against Dimitri Harold as of yet, right? Certainly he's implicated due to incompetence, but there hasn't been a direct line in terms of being implicated as a purposeful actor as of yet today, right? All right. So that's kind of where we're at right now. In general, my team, Madame Mati Moise, flew in yesterday. She's in the country. She flew in so she can participate with her husband's funeral. Absolutely heartbreaking that, you see her in a vest, a bulletproof vest, for goodness sakes, I don't blame her. At this point, it's been proven that the police, the National Guard cannot protect her, right? and I guess really what most people have commented is just the look on her face. She has a look that I think a lot of us can empathize with. A lot of us can see potentially ourselves in a situation where our wife, our husband, was mercilessly murdered in front of us, and stories have just come out. I believe they're relatively validated, where Martin Moise is recounting the night. And of course, we were all waiting for that. We're all waiting for Martin Moise to actually share in her words what happened that night. I mean, it is a incredibly sad, incredibly, I can say, traumatic story where literally, she shares how they heard the gunshots. They was very aware that their protection was gone. Was very aware that armed individuals were coming in. President Moise right away said, "Honey, we're dead." Right away he said that, "Honey, we're dead." And when they came into the room, she had her kid hide in the shower, and she was in the room. And per that account, the entire time they were on the phone. The entire time, these mercenaries were on the phone. They identified President Moise with this person who they were speaking with, and then immediately unloaded on the president and the president's wife, right? During this barrage of bullets, where at least 12 bullets entered and killed the president. Excuse me, it's very, very, very traumatic. They just even reshare the story. It's, she hid under her bed, and they dragged her out. And this, of course, she's playing dead. She had to play dead. She would have generally been killed. She had bullets in her. They opened her eyes, did the whole, looked for, she held her breath to make it seem genuine as if she was dead. And it was only then that they walked out the room. They took some paperwork, did a search of the other rooms, and then left her for dead. And of course, her husband was certainly dead at the time. And that's how they found her when the police finally came after this happened, and the police took her along with her daughter to the hospital, right? And so that's the official story from Martin Moise. For those who may have doubted if the mercenaries did it or not, I think you should let that piece of the conspiracy theories go. As from day one, from when Martin Moise came out and said the mercenaries did it, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, is this even real? Oh, man, she's probably being told." No. I think that puts it to bed that she was there. She witnessed the mercenaries kill her husband. So there isn't any doubt that they did it. Okay. Now it's a matter of how do we move forward? How do we get justice? Right. I see someone, no other Naomi, saying, "Who told you this?" It's out, sweetheart. It's out. Just Google it. Martin Moise tells the story of that night. It's out. Listen, if I'm saying it, it's not. It's part of the conspiracy rumors. It's part of the public, archive by reputable news sources. Okay, so it's out. Okay, so go Google it. Go read it for yourself. It's out. Okay, so that's where we are on that news story. Certainly, again, as I mentioned, the FBI are assisting with this investigation. We certainly will see. I think time will tell where we are. A lot of folks don't understand that Haiti is a very, very small town. Even common crimes, most folks know who did it, right? They may not know specifically who the trigger person is, but they understand who had the motive. A lot of times they do know who the trigger person is, but in other times, a few times they don't know who the trigger person is. They know who had the motive, right? Who had the argument a few days before, who made that big threat, right? Everyone, and it's part of the ecosystem of understanding. Again, it's Haiti. Folks really have to understand Haiti. Man, I'm here. I'm talking to you in Pittsburgh. I'm telling you, Haiti is a small town. Like in a small town, if you ever live in a small town, everybody knows everyone else's underwear size. Like there's nothing you can hide. you see what I'm saying? Like they know the details of who you are, right? Before you may know who what it is, right? That's just how it works. And so I'm telling you, this isn't going to be a JFK situation where we don't know who did what. We're going to have a story that's going to be relatively complete. All right. So just sit back and let the investigators do the work. I know it's very fun right now to go to Clubhouse, and sit and for an hour and a half, just share crazy conspiracy theories in Clubhouse. I know that's the fun thing to do, but let's wait for the actual investigators to do their jobs. And then we can talk about those facts, right? Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. As I said, this episode isn't a special episode. We're not here to focus on assassination as we did last week. But I do encourage folks who do want a pretty comprehensive understanding of that story to head over there. Head over to our playlist and go check out last week's Haiti Biz News, where we did spend a good chunk of time talking about what we knew, who Jovenel was, and a bunch of other aspects to this story. Okay. All right. COVID. Let's talk about it. COVID. Let's talk about COVID. Right. We're currently experiencing in Haiti the third wave. The third wave continues. We're experiencing a third wave of COVID as of July 9th. We have roughly 6,207 confirmed cases of COVID and 230 deaths, right? And it's been, though it did, start to slow down, where maybe even 2 weeks ago, or 2.5 weeks ago, we're down to maybe 2,000 active cases, but we've seen another spike, that's really gotten us to the 6,000 mark, even higher than we were when it spiked. Really, what I consider almost the second time, back in just about May-ish, right? In particular, we've had very high contamination rates in Petit Guave area. Before it was Jacma. Jacma had a pretty large spike, but then it's now really Petit Guave has seen a considerable spike between May 27th and June 24th, which is very unfortunate, right? In particular, we saw probably maybe the largest the biggest death of COVID has been the president of the Court of Cassation, René Sylvestre. René Sylvestre tested positive for COVID on the 21st, and on the 23rd was confirmed dead, right? And so COVID is something that's still happening. And I can tell you, I'm trying to get my vaccine here relatively soon. Again, you can believe what you want to believe about conspiracy theories and vaccines. Listen, I'm getting mine. You do what you want, right? But certainly, and on a topic of vaccines, we have the Minister of Health authorizing the private sector to import vaccines. You can get an import license to purchase and distribute vaccines in the territory. Though I find it, I've tried to find out what restrictions they have in terms of, okay, once it's here, because you purchased it, right? You purchased it for a price. You have to make that money back, right? So how much are you allowed to sell it? Because right now, for example, if you want to get even a test, a COVID test, it's not free in Haiti. You have to pay upwards of I forget how much it is now, 6,000 goud for your test. And so if the test costs, then certainly the vaccine is going to cost. How much is it going to cost? We don't know yet. That is uncertain for right now, right? So we don't know, right? But we'll certainly keep an eye on that once we have more information next time we're on. We'll certainly talk about that. Additionally, the United States have sent 500,000 doses of the Moderna vaccine to Haiti. It's currently in Haiti. They're working on getting it distributed. It came to Haiti on the 14th or 15th. Excuse me, just a few days ago, right? Additionally, more than 900 solar vaccines have been donated to Haiti from the United Nations to help keep those vaccines cool. A lot of these vaccines have to be kept cool, right? A lot of these vaccines have to be kept cool, right? And so 900 solar refrigerators have been donated, right? And so, and additionally, another $3 million have been earmarked to provide financial support and equipment and to improve the logistical capacity for the vaccines, again, provided by UNICEF in particular, right? But very interestingly, I know at least 70, a recent study by Safe Tech Research came out, and this, of course, happened back in April. 76% of the Haitian population declares that they would refuse to be vaccinated if COVID-19 vaccines were available in Haiti. Right? Of course, Safe Tech usually goes to the people, right, the population as a whole, and asks them different conversational, different topics, and 76%. That's so. Whatever program of vaccination that's going to happen, certainly a big aspect of education is going to have to also come with to explain and reaffirm the benefits of a vaccine and what it can do. I do know we in Haiti are big believers in our teas. I'm a big believer of tea as well. Trust me, I've had some ailments that, I went to ER, I went to doctors, they gave me different medicines, I came to Haiti, I spoke with that one cousin, that one aunt, that one, older community chief. And I said, I had this, and halfway through me telling them that, they said, stop, say less. Gave me a tea, knocked it right out. So I'm a believer of teas. I'm talking from someone who believes in teas, right? Because I've seen it physically. Teas work. Forget, whatever you think teas work. But that said, when you're seeing spikes of 6,000 people within a short period, we do need comprehensive science to save lives, right? And certainly we also need to embrace science and the COVID vaccine particularly, right? That's just a perspective, right? So we'll see how those things turn out, right? For referendum, of course, with the president passing, a lot of questions exist in terms of what's going to happen next, right? But before these tragic events on the 28th of June, the new calendar came out for the referendum, and the dates for the first round of elections for the legislative and presidential was supposed to happen on September 26th, right? September 26th. and the electoral campaign, at least for the first round, was supposed to start August 26th. And so interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph has said that he is to try to hold those dates. But however, very interestingly, one of the last days of registration for those who are going to participate was July 6th, right, a day before the president's assassination. Right. Already as well, PHTK has said they're not going to participate in this election that Prime Minister Claude Joseph is organizing. Already they've come out and said they're not participating, including some other leading opposition have also said they're not participating. So it seems as if we are going to be right back to the situation we were in almost before President Moise, where for the virtue of people not participating, they're going to say that this election isn't valid because of them not participating in the first place. So, the carousel of political instability certainly seems as if it may continue. And that's in the best case where elections are pushed forward and do happen. Is Claude Joseph actually going to be able to hold elections? The time is going to tell us if that actually happens or not, right? So we'll see, right? So we certainly will see. In Matissan, of course, as you know, one of the big issues that were happening in Matissan were massive amounts of gang violence that rocked Haiti in early June. Gangs were fighting amongst themselves for territory, and still, I think the last time I was on air, we did talk about some theories in terms of why they were fighting so aggressively. But in fact, it made Matissan Matissan always had a degree of danger involved. But I can tell you, I used to drive through there all the time, at different times of the day, and there were always people moving up and forth, traffic, people walking, people selling. But now it's absolute ghost town, absolute, something out of Walking Dead. There's nothing, no signs of life there at all. And of course, there was the first time I've seen this in a domestic humanitarian crisis, in the sense that there's massive inwards migration of people, right now, and it's heartbreaking to see. Give me 1 second here. This darn light. I'm just take it down. Boom. And it's heartbreaking to see, right? The amount of folks. You have upwards of some estimates of 10,000 who have been displaced and remain displaced. Right now, the Kafu Sports Center has been really a focal point for where a lot of these displaced people have had to stay during this period. That even today, there's still a good sizable amount of folks who are staying there. Fayez, which is the government's social arm, have been providing food and a lot of other supplies for the folks there. In addition to other organizations, most notably Taiwan, have been providing money, food, and other resources, hot dishes, hygienic kits, and etc., to help support those displaced people in that area, right? So we'll certainly keep an eye out for what's happening in Matissan. I can tell you, as of right now, Matissan is still effectively a no man's land that's being avoided as much as possible. One reason why there is continuous gas shortages right now in Port-au-Prince has been because the main gas port that's in Kafu, folks have not been able to traverse from Kafu into the city because Matissan is impassable. And ironically, gas is a little better to be found in the provincial South right now, as it compares to Port-au-Prince in the North, because of that situation. Right. So we'll certainly keep an eye out on that situation as it develops. The Dominican Republic, as you may know, did shut down the border on the 7th for a handful of days, as they themselves made sense of the situation and what's happening in the country, right? But they reopened. They reopened on the 14th. They did reopen their border, and trade and commerce has resumed along the border, right? Economic indicators. Let's talk about that. In May, for May 2021, the numbers. Remember, they're always a few months behind, right? But so we didn't get the official inflation numbers for May year over year. Actually, it's one of the lowest I've reported in the long period of time that I've reported on our inflation numbers. It's only 13%, and in particular, it's notable because of the fact that we did have just a tremendous spike just about 3-4 months before. We had spikes of 24% inflation. To say we just had 13% in May is wow. But on the flip side, right? On the flip side of that, there's reports today of massive inflation happening in the country, right? Because we won't know until about 3-4 months from now the exact numbers, but there's indication that we're seeing today inflation rates as high between low end 20%, as high as 30% and more, because of the fact that we did have massive there's no other word for it, looting that happened. Some of the largest depots in the lower Delamont, lower Port-au-Prince areas, right? 3 or 4 major food depots were looted, absolutely ransacked, which is very difficult in a country that already is having supply chain issues because of gangs. And now literally the supply has been looted out of several major food locations. In addition to the fact that, of course, that even those that didn't get looted, that weren't in that hotspot area, have difficulties in getting their food products out because of Matisam being a no man's land, right? So on one side, we did have good leading indicators of the situation in the country, but also common for Haiti. Good news usually comes with 2 pairs of bad news relatively quickly, right? Next news story has to do with agriculture, right? Agriculture. BRANA and ECS, the Environmental Clean Solutions SA, recently signed an agreement where BRANA is hired ECS to produce, consume, and reuse and recycle a lot of the plastics that BRANA have been producing more and more. As you know, BRANA makes Prestige, makes Malta, makes a lot of different beverages, and for quite a long time. And still, many of their beverages use glass. Glass, of course, is inherently a reusable item, and particularly how they price it, how they have the structure for them to pick it up and reuse, wash, and put beverages in. But more and more, they're using more and more plastics. And so, they're working with ECS to help them be able to recapture some of their plastics and potentially, if not reuse them, to certainly be part of a scheme to use those plastics in other things, right? So that's great news. Haiti does have a tremendous environmental situation. Whatever news that we can find related to improving that situation, that's certainly things we should do, right? At the beginning, you know what? That news story isn't as newsworthy per second glance. We'll hop over and skip that for now. Electricity. Let's jump into electricity, right? The Kafu gas station, the Kafu station, sorry, the electrical depot that is supposed to have the new massive generators that use natural gas. Again, it's up, it's functioning. And I can tell you, I have seen, finally, I have started to see a slow, right? A slow improvement in the electrical situation here in the larger Port-au-Prince area, right? So the report has been the turbines are finally fully online. They're running, looking to probably 6 months before running fully on natural gas. Right now, they're running on diesel per the original plan, more or less to sort of test the generators, right? They did announce that there are going to be some periods where the new generators are going to be offline as they continue to test different components, different aspects of the infrastructure that the generators are a part of. But certainly, I can tell you, someone on the ground here, we're seeing an improvement in the electrical situation, right? Solar energy arrives in 3 municipalities in the Northeast. Japan has donated different solar infrastructure, and it's been a part of Capital Mon Organisé, right? And I'll tell you that other name, Valeres, right? They all will be equipped with hybrid photovoltaic solar panels plants that can produce up to 300 kilowatts, which can supply upwards of 2,000 users through the system, right? So that's great news, and great news in particular for rural areas, such as the areas that we just mentioned. Haiti International, HRA, the Haiti Renewal Alliance, has actually partnered with USAID to provide organizations and businesses doing things in Haiti up to $150,000, right? $150,000, right? The goal is to select 15 finalists to effectively do a Shark Tank pitch session, right? To effectively do a Shark Tank pitch session for the chance of winning $150,000, right? And there's going to be different categories involved. Agriculture certainly is one avenue. And by the way, it's still open. They're still taking applications. I just dropped a link for those who are watching right now on Facebook and YouTube. I just dropped the link, investortank.org. For those watching on IG right now, investortank.org. Right, you can go and participate if you qualify. I guess one of the bigger things you should know about qualifying is you must have been in operation for 2 years. You must have 2 years worth of financials, FYI, right? So that is certainly a condition you have to keep in mind, right? And the categories that they're looking to fund: health, shelter, agribusiness. Those are the three major segments they're looking to fund. So if you have an idea in those spaces, and you've been around for 2 years worth of 2 years worth of time, you can either be a for-profit entity or you can be a 501c3. You can go ahead and register to be a part of this incredible opportunity. And there's not too many opportunities in Haiti that really focus on entrepreneurship, focus on business, focus on the things that can really help this country move forward. And so I'm very happy to see that, and we'll certainly hope that they can continue. They can do another round because I may have a business in 2-3 years that I may want to participate in and pitch. So we'll see. But again, the deadline is July 31st, so you do want to hurry up and get your application in before too much time has passed, right? So international aid, there's been some developments there. Taiwan, for example, has donated $2.4 million seeds of rice, which is great. Taiwan has been a big abuser in my book of just sending big containers of rice to the country. And I've always said, I think anyone who knows the situation in Haiti, we don't need rice. We need the capacity to make our own rice. There's a difference, and this is certainly a big deal. The price of the rice here, the seeds are valued at upwards of $2.4 million worth of seeds. The seeds are going to be dispersed across the north and northeast Artibonite regions, north, northeast, and south regions. Again, almost 20,000 metric tons of quality rice seeds, and again, and 12,000 metric tons R&D going to be going to Artibonite, which Artibonite, as you know, is the rice region of Haiti. So that's fantastic. We're happy to report, that's the aid that Haiti should be receiving, right? The type of aid that helps us help ourselves, which is great. Very happy to hear. The IFC has partnered with, again, the IFC is the International Finance Corporation, has partnered with the fund, of the World Bank Group, in addition to the Facility for Investment Climate Advisory Services, to provide funds of upwards of 347 billion good. That's just shy of $3.47 million to help support the textile sector here in Haiti, a sector that has been incredibly important for the economy. It employs upwards of 50,000 people. And given COVID and given a lot of the other stressors that's been happening in the country, it's part of the post-COVID 2022 through 2023 economic recovery plan that a lot of major world institutions are putting funds in place to help countries like Haiti that really aren't in situations or positions to help themselves organically, using their own country's funds to help certain sectors weather the storm, right? And so certainly great news, as we know, again, the sector has been rocked, not only because of the natural sort of disasters and political situation, but also for a while, for example, when the central bank just one day woke up and said we're going to half the exchange rate from 120 to 60. One of the big folks who were hit very hard was the textile industry, that in effect their cost basis doubled overnight without any chance to smooth out that situation and do different changes. And so for quite some time, they were reeling. And I am aware that a few did go out of business. Right? So in addition to the things you can't predict, it never helps that the government that you're here in does things like that. But certainly we are, that sort of news is much needed and good to hear, right? Food for the Poor has sent 10 containers of food to the south, 10 containers worth of food to the south, thanks through just different organizations. They were able to get 10 40-foot containers and 2 auxiliary trucks out of Port-au-Prince to the southeast Gondas and Nipez. As you know, Haiti is dealing with a tremendous risk of food shortage, famine to be in particular. A recent report from the UN had Haiti in the top 10 countries currently with the greatest risk of food insecurity, right? Of course, when you read the fine print and you find out what's causing it, and how do they solve it? They solve it. Basically, they say, hey, Haiti needs to make more of its own food. And of course, I read that and I go, I do this because on one hand, they're saying Haiti needs to make more of its own food. On the flip side, they are providing a lot of free food that undercuts the domestic food being number one. And number two, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton and Arkansas food. To the point where even right now, as I'm talking to you, I can go out and there's 2 sacks of rice. American rice is around maybe 184 good or something. And Haiti rice is somewhere around 300, 250 to 300, almost double what American rice is, right? And so, if you really want to be humanitarians, then what you need to do is raise your prices to give Haiti domestic rice more of an opportunity to grow and get more farmers encouraged to be able to cover their base expenses, right? And that's how it's supposed to work. But in any case, we're on their list. Meanwhile, they're doing things that go and it only exacerbates that situation. But that's the news. Next up, we have local aid and business development, right? Where we do have some interesting news. We have the National Education Fund. The National Education Fund, and by the way, is a fund that was created to with the money, with the $1.50 that that gets taken out of every person who sends money to Haiti out of the remittances. They did announce that 25 new schools are just about to be completed, right? And they're working on the plans and accepting bids for 16 other national schools in the Northeast, and particularly in the Northeast area of Haiti. And some other towns they're looking at is Fort Liberté, Terre Rouge, Perche, Caïssier, Mont Organisé, Maubin, Cochou, Capitoli, Wanamet, Trois du Nord, and Saint-Suzanne, right? So a lot of these different places are looking to get new schools. About 35 firms have submitted their files on time, and so that should be happening relatively quickly. Additionally, the Digicel Foundation has provided a donation of $50,000 to St. Luke's Hospital, as well as 50 oxygen cylinders to Mirabalé's Hospital. Right, so very happy to hear that information and that news. Right. And Hervé Josim, I had to hop in, and you're absolutely right. The tariffs that Haiti has certainly hasn't helped. Certainly, one thing that I critiqued Jovenel on in his administration was the fact that rather than raise tariffs, he actually decreased them from a paltry 5% to 0% on imported rice, which is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing that you basically provide an extremely short-term solution by hamstringing our long-term, right, the long-term proper way to handle the situation, right, by helping protect our local industry. Anyhow, but yeah, I just responded to Herb Josim talking about tariffs. That is certainly the way to go. Of course, doing that too would have pissed off America, and as we know, President Moïse, rest his soul, was very much his only real friend for quite some time was America, right? Because every actor in Haiti was against him. And of course, we never thought it would have gotten to the point where they would have actually killed him. But in any case, we knew for quite some time he was a one-man fight, and the only group that was really making him feel confident was the fact that he thought he had America in his corner, but America didn't help him on the night of July 7th, regrettably. Right? Public Works. Let's talk about it. The parking lot, the construction of the Parliament buildings have started. If you guys know that a China company gained the rights to build a lot of government buildings in the downtown area of Port-au-Prince, in addition to the Parliament buildings. Construction has started. Right, the parking lot has broken ground. Bear in mind, I'll give you some stats on some of these buildings that are coming. The Parliament building is going to have a chamber for deputies with 151 offices, right? And with a surface area of 20 square meters. And the Senate is going to have 37 offices with a square average surface area of 20 square meters, right? 3 meeting rooms, administrative support offices, right? In addition to a lounge, right? So yeah, this is massive. I mean, in total, we're looking at 6,000 square meters worth of space, right? And the parking lot is going to be able to have as much as 60 parking spaces in that building, right? So, this is a massive, right? And of course, there is talks of having an amphitheater nearby, a depot, right? And a bunch of other stuff, right? And of course, there's going to be another car lot that's going to have upwards of 287 spaces, right? So, in addition, Denma 75 road infrastructure works have been completed. Denma 75 in Piblin, the intersection of Denma 75 and Piblin, that road has been completed. Actually, I drove by it the other day. I was rather impressed to see how quickly that road project has completed. Again, Wilson Judi, Mayor of Delma, I can tell you, if we had 10 Wilson Judis across the country, we'd be a lot farther off. So hats off to Wilson Judi, always continuing to do the work as a proper functioning government official. Maybe one of the few good ones we have in the country. And in addition, he was one of the few, to the point where I can actually, very rarely do I ever report on things that are going to happen, because in Haiti, you don't report on things that are going to happen until they happen, because of the track record. But I can say, for example, that there's an announcement that the Delma 33 near Rue Adel and Rue Flaubert, environ Delma 31, are going to begin work on completing their asphaltation, right? Getting asphalt there and getting those places set up. So hats off, and let's keep seeing the incredible progress that Delma has seen because of Wilson Judi. Right? Sports. You guys talk about it. The Grenadiers, our soccer team, is part of the World Cup. Gold Cup, and unfortunately lost to. Right now we're 0-2. We lost to the United States and we lost to Canada. Right. So we're not looking too good thus far, and for our group right now. So we're not looking too good at the moment for our Gold Cup holdings, and effectively we're not expected to do any better than where we are currently. And that's one thing I can tell you that's pretty frustrating, is that we had a fantastic coach who had us winning against Canada, or darn near pretty close to beating Mexico, and we lost darn near in overtime. And then the Haitian Federation wouldn't pay him. And I'm not even saying pay him, give him a new contract. They just didn't pay him his old contract, in addition to not negotiating a new contract. And then they hired. And I was like, I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, okay, let me see what this guy produces. They bring on a new coach, right? Who had, from what I can tell, and please, somebody who knows better, please correct me, has no coaching experience, right? No coaching experience, to coach this national team. And you can see, right? You can see where we are. We're losing terribly, right? We're losing terribly. This new coach, Jean-Jacques Pierre, and we're losing embarrassingly. I mean, I'm talking, we're making own goals. Like we weren't seeing that under the old coach. And if the only thing that's changed, we have the same players, right? But we're playing so terribly, then you're gonna have to say it's the coach, right? Which begs you to wonder, why didn't we keep the coach that we had before? Right? Well, James Lubin is sharing something, saying, hey, to be fair, 7 of our guys did have COVID. You're right. So in defense of the coach, a good amount of our key players did have COVID and weren't allowed to play. You see, fair and balanced. You guys can change my mind. Okay, so maybe that is a defense for the current head coach. Maybe it is. Okay, let's see. Once his players are back, let's see how they play. Okay, so I'll walk back from that opinion. Okay, Elijah Shipman. This is a story that's gonna make your blood boil, guys. It's gonna make your blood boil, guys. Right? So Elijah Shipman is a Haitian American, someone of Haitian descent, and she's been, taking the Taekwondo world by storm. She's a young woman, 17 years old, and she managed to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics for Taekwondo. But lo and behold, and this is a very similar story to when we were participating. Haiti was participating in the Caribbean basketball league, and Haiti was wiping the floor with every Caribbean team, and then they changed the rules halfway and said, well, you know what, because a lot of you guys have American passports too. It's not about being of Haitian descent, even though our Constitution allows this. Our Constitution allows you're a citizen by your parents' blood, not necessarily this hard definition of being here physically. You're Haitian so long as your parents were Haitian, or if you were born in the country. It doesn't matter where you are now, right? That's our Constitution currently, the unchanged one, and even the one coming, if ever does change, it's also like this, right? So okay, so they changed the rules and they kicked our team out. Poor Aaliyah Shipman, something very similar is happening to her right now, where she's been such a dominating force. The United States Olympics Committee, just out of nowhere, started lobbying to get her out, despite the fact that the United States Taekwondo also has folks who, parents come from other places, who are citizens at early ages of other places, became naturalized citizens, and are playing, despite so hypocritically. Today, right now, we have those people playing for United States. The United States turn around and say, you know what? No, we don't want Haiti to have someone like Aaliyah Shipman, who, was in the States for X amount of time and now is claiming Haitian citizenship, right? No, she's Haitian. She's Haitian, baby boo, right? And unfortunately for Aaliyah Shipman, she's been removed and kicked out of competing in the Olympics, which is so unfair, so incredibly unfair. So listen, it's not a small task to qualify and get to compete in the Olympics, and for a feeling that they didn't want to compete with the true best of the best, and bullying a small country like Haiti into complying. I think it should boil your blood if you're watching this as a Haitian. And I do encourage you to share the story of Aaliyah Shipman. And hopefully, so right now she is trying to fight and petition for a change, to appeal what has been done to her. And we certainly do hope she does find what she's looking for, because extremely unfair of what's happening to this person at the moment. I just thought I'd use my platform for a moment to share what's happening to this Haitian woman, and do hope next time I'm on I can share that she was able to repeal it successfully. Right? And so that, ladies and gentlemen, that's Haiti Biz News. That's Haiti Biz News. And I hope, as we do a quick lap around again and talk about the headlines one more time, but I hope when we get through these stories and we get to the tail end, right? Her name is Aaliyah Shipman. Aaliyah Shipman. Let me Google. I will copy paste her name so you guys can find it easier. Okay, I just copied in the chat of YouTube and Facebook. Aaliyah Shipman. You can take a look at that and you can follow up with her. And there was a sign me petition that I saw going up. I think it reached what it was supposed to do. I think they were trying to get 5,000 signatures. I think they did. When I signed it myself, they were at like 4,200. I think they finished that. Otherwise, I would have signed that. I would have sent that petition to you guys and refined it. But do keep a track on that story, and hopefully we can report a positive news conclusion from that perspective. And I think what I hope that you guys get out of this is that there's a lot of things happening in Haiti outside the headlines. Schools are being built. Environmental deals are being signed between potentially large polluters and large recyclers in the country, right? Our citizens are indeed being supported. Those being most affected, for example, those in Matissa, they're being supported and assisted by not only our domestic organizations but international organizations as well, right? Economic indicators were going down up until this recent crisis with the president being assassinated. Our prices were going down. Inflation was seeing the lowest it was seeing, right? Back in May, right? Electricity is still moving forward. I just told you, I reported that, we're seeing improvements, and I personally can start seeing improvements in our electrical situation. We're having solar panel networks being constructed, being completed. There's competitions happening. HRA is doing $150,000 Shark Tank competition in Haiti through the USAID as well. Rice seeds are being donated to the country, to our agricultural areas, right? We're seeing major public works being completed. We're seeing schools, 25 plus schools are being completed. In addition, 16 new schools are being plotted for and planned to be built all across the provinces, right? So that, I hope, as you watch, Haiti Biz News and you come here, I hope that gives you a bit of, because I think certainly we were I think a lot of us were certainly, especially those who were only, engaged in Haiti during these worst times. That's why we do this show. We do the show so in between the headlines, if you actually so choose to look for the in between, a lot of folks, don't look for the in between. There's work being done, right? And that's why I still have hope. I still have hope that one day we'll wake up one day and we'll see a Haiti that's actually functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning, right? Because 364 days of the year, there's still people on the ground, organizations on the ground, entities on the ground, pushing and doing the necessary work to move us forward, right? And I hope that is truly what you get out of this episode, more than anything, right? So I'm not gonna stick around. Usually, sometimes I stick around and read the comments or potentially bring folks in. As I mentioned, starting this month, we're going to make Haiti Biz News show into a daily show. We're gonna have a broadcaster join SeeJeanty Media, and we're gonna start producing daily shows. Look out for about mid-August. They're gonna be pre-recorded, probably put together. We're gonna try to get them out by the afternoon with the previous day's news headlines, and that's gonna be Monday through Thursday. I'm really excited. And also, it means when I do come back and start doing lives again, it won't be for Haiti Biz News. Probably going to do something like a new pilot with SeeJeanty, and just talking about different aspects of living in Haiti, aspects of moving to Haiti, aspects of doing business in Haiti, and I'll invite people up. We'll share screens where I'll invite you who are reading this on screen. We'll allow folks to ask questions. I'll answer those questions, right? And I look forward to that. Just me just having conversations with people, and maybe pick one or two headlines and talk about those one or two headlines max. But really have a deeper conversation with those. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited that we're moving Haiti Biz News in the direction where I've always told you I wanted Haiti Biz News to be. I wanted Haiti Biz News to be, right, a Bloomberg for Haiti, a CNBC for Haiti, right? And so it's incredibly exciting times that we're going to be pushing forward here and doing, right? Knock on wood, God willing, which is always the big thing, right? God wants it to be, God will it be. God will keep us safe and allow us to do it, because you never know. Every day is no day is ever promised, right? So, but so long as we're here, we'll keep pushing. We'll keep doing what we need to do. I reshared the SeeJeanty.com/shop link. Remember, you can go and pick up your own copy of 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti. Thick book. It's out, right? Do grab your copy, because again, I do want to empower. I want Haiti. Only one way forward for Haiti, and that is through entrepreneurship, business. And a lot of folks are asking me, how do I do it? How do we move forward? What's the way to go about it? It's business, and there's a book that exists for you. So do check that out, right? Do remember to join the action group. The action group is really important. Do join the action group, right? It's a place where folks share different stories, different things that are happening in Haiti, about Haiti. I do encourage you to share what you're finding. We don't have space to share positive, encouraging news. It's negative news all the time. And so we need a space that can share news, that can empower, uplift, encourage. And then SeeJeanty Action Group, the group is for that. And don't you forget, is the WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group. I'm in there. I'm conversating with folks. A lot of you folks who've reached out to me, who DM'd me, who say, "Oh, I love the talk. I love what you're doing." Listen, I run several businesses. I run the media company. I have a wife. I don't have time to communicate with everyone who DMs me. I'm sorry, right? But if you do want a space where you can communicate with other people in addition to myself, right? And you do want, whatever you're working on in Haiti, you do want a space to gain information, to gain more feedback, gain ideas. The WhatsApp groups for you, and for $20 a month, you number one, you're supporting what we're doing here media wise. You're one of the reasons why we're going to be able to do Haiti Biz News show, daily show each day, because of the incredible support that the WhatsApp group provides. So number one, thank you. You are truly providing more content to the world that the world needs to see by being part of the WhatsApp group. But also, I'm always about giving more value to an individual than, you give $20 worth of value for each dollar that someone gives you. And so that's why you're in it with other incredibly talented, smart people in this WhatsApp group. In addition to, we have a 25+ year attorney who's there to provide her perspective and provides it, no charge, just for the folks who are in there. And so I do encourage you, if you're a supporter of SeeJeanty, do join the WhatsApp group. And for those who are a little cash strapped right now, it's okay. It's all right. Share the video. Share this episode we just did. That I hope that was extremely informative for you all. Do share it, right? Sharing costs nothing but a movement of your finger. Click. Hit that share button. If you're new here, by the way, too, hit that subscribe button. Somebody just sent it to you and you started watching for the first time. Do hit that subscribe button, where we have a lot of content that we do. In fact, we have a recent video that we dropped where we showed off Tariq Muhammad and his call center, African American, Also, there's some events that are happening. For example, there's a unity rally, a Haiti unity rally being done by Starrick Smith in Miami. And I do encourage, if you're watching this, if you're in the South Florida area, to go ahead and support Starrick Smith. The link for Starrick Smith, in fact, I'll drop it. His brand is called The Hungry Black Man. I do suggest you to go and follow him to just get more information on that event. It's going to be August 1st. It's going to be August 1st. And I would love to have, a good showing of Haitians there. He's doing it down in Overtown. And it's really, the goal is to get a lot of Afro communities, African Americans, Afro Latinos, Haitians together to support Haiti, right? And so if you have an ally like that who's really putting Haiti first for us, I think, hey, let's show up and let's show them that, hey, we're here to work together with everyone who wants to work with us to move forward. So do give Hungry Black Man a follow, and keep an eye on the Haiti Unity event that's coming. In addition, the funds that are raised during this event, by the way, are going to support L'Hôpital Santé L'Hospitalier de Fontaine, which is the hospital in the city Soleil that I featured not too long ago. They're a hospital that, one of the only hospitals in City Soleil, and they've uninterrupted for 30 plus years. Even now, with all everything that's happening, they've been operating and working, and actually the funds from this Haiti Unity Drive is going to be going to that. And you know me, guys, I don't do donations, I don't do charity, because Haiti's saturated with that, generally speaking. So I'm focused on entrepreneurship, business, job growth, job creation. But I think sometimes, not even sometimes, Haiti is a big elephant. The problems of Haiti, it's a big elephant. We're all, can attack this in different ways. My way is one way, and actually helping through a charity donation aspect, if structured correctly, for example, helping a hospital, can certainly do well and go far. And so that's why I'm supporting Starrick Smith and Hungry Black Man's initiative. I encourage you to. Okay. So guys, that's where we're at. Again, look out for this month. The Haiti Biz News Daily Show is going to be starting up. Each week we do have new episodes who come out. We're doing different things, showing a different perspective of Haiti. I do want to appreciate everyone who was with me this episode from the very beginning of the episode to the very end. So thank you so much for that. And guys, we'll be back at it again when we're back at it again. Peace, and thank you, everyone.